Hi everybody, this is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto. I have with me James Crypto Bull from the James Crypto Bull channel. He's been on with me before. We're going to be both talking to Dwight. Dwight is the CEO of Krios. I've never featured Krios on my channel before. I'm delighted that he's finally made it. I've been holding Kree tokens, or now gig tokens, since September last year. And we're going to be talking about Kree, about TNC, about new exchanges, about changes to the token economy, and all kinds of exciting stuff.
I want to keep to myself, especially when it comes to my personal data online. I really don't want any hacker snooping on me, so I use NordVPN.
James, anything you want to say very quickly to introduce yourself?
James Crypto Bull, just a YouTuber for maybe 2.5, 3 years, I think. Got into the space, just buying Ethereum, and eventually bought into the Krios project in its original format, and then stuck with the project and hooked up with Dwight, and been with the project ever since, really.
Very good.
It's very exciting.
Very good. Yes, and I shall link to your channel in the description below, and please go and subscribe to his channel. And James, you need to open an account on BitTube as well, which is where this video will be posted first, and then later YouTube. And then Dwight. Hello, Dwight.
Hi, how are you?
Dwight, thank you so much for making yourself available and for doing this. And this video is going to be on both channels, on my channel and on James's channel, in different parts, which we're going to work out. We're sharing Dwight, and James was the one who introduced me to Krios, and thank you so much for that. Dwight, do you want to start by introducing yourself and saying a little bit of what Krios is, because people on my channel won't know?
Yeah, hi. My name is Dwight Ringdhal, and I am the owner of the Krios project. We purchased the project as a kind of a failed crypto project that had some aspirations at the time of being a employee platform for the ad tech world. My background is ad tech, so I kind of got involved in it and interested in it. We've kind of changed it around quite a bit since then, but it's a freelancing platform. It's actually an application that is live and making money right now. It's Krios.io is the website, and it's very similar to a combination of freelancer.com, upwork.com, and fiverr.com. With some different spins to it that are different than the other places do, and we've got a lot to look forward to. We actually launched the application. My wife and I purchased the project back in May of last year, so we're just past our 1-year anniversary. The application was launched in December, starting to pick up traction. Then, unfortunately, COVID hit, so that's kind of slowed down the process a little bit there. But I'd like to take the opportunity, especially with Crypto Rich, to kind of go over some of the exchange plans and some of the tokenomics that we're working on to make Kree, which was originally Kree, KRI, as a token. We just rebranded it about a month and a half ago to Gig, which is more relative to the type of application that we do. People think of freelancing as gigs and stuff like that, so we were able to kind of get the GIG name on some of the exchanges. There was a former Gig out there that was a different kind of company, but we were able to take them over.
Okay, very good. Now, just a few questions that I've got about Kree, the platform, for myself and also people watching this to find out a bit more. So it's like Fiverr and everything, where people can put themselves forward to fulfill on, I don't know, digital tasks like copywriting and video editing and whatever, and other people can actually look for and pay for those people to do work.
Yeah, that's correct. So that would be like the Fiverr side. So the Fiverr side, you go out there and kind of post a resume, basically. You get a profile and you say, I can do graphic arts, or I can do voiceovers, or I can do this kind of stuff. And you put a price list out there, I'll do your phone recording for $25 or $125, whatever price it is that you want to charge. Mm-hmm. That would be the Fiverr side of the application. On the Upwork and freelancer side, it's where an employer comes out and says, we have this job and we need these tasks done, and they're usually pretty specific as to what they need done. Bid. So then the freelancers will come out there and say, well, I'm really good at doing voiceovers, and I'll go ahead and bid, and here's my bid. And they submit it to the employer, and the employer kind of vets those freelancers and then moves forward.
Right. So your platform combines both of them, both those aspects.
Yes, yeah. Correct.
And what's the advantage that you offer for users of your platform to those ones, to the other ones?
Right now, primarily the main thing is our fees are pretty much drastically lower, upwards of almost 10% lower, either between the employer side and the freelancer side. So that's a key benefit to what we offer. What we're about to be doing, and we'll be talking a little bit later with James about some of the stuff, but one of the things is that we are offering probably a higher quality employee is the goal at the end of the day, people that have actually been vetted. So we currently have a KYC process on the application where an employer can say, well, let me make sure you're a real person before I give you this job for $1,000. And they have to go through a KYC process to make sure, just like regular KYC, know your customer kind of thing. And that gives them a little more security in the fact that they're dealing with a real individual versus, what we're finding in our research over the last couple of months is that the three competitors that we're, working on getting some of their business from is the biggest issues that employers have with those companies is the fact that there's a lack of credibility. And the credibility lack is really based on the fact that the employees that are listed out there, all they have to do is basically fill out a Facebook profile on some of them. It's like,
Right.
And they consider that a validated person. Well, we all know that that's pretty easy to do and pretty easy to fake. So we took it we took it one step level already with the KYC process, but that's going to be changing here shortly. And I'll get into greater detail later about that.
Okay. Now okay. So I can see how companies could lose out by going, because they could end up being defrauded or get shoddy work.
Yeah, so traditionally the platforms that do freelancing, us and our competitors, we kind of act as the middleman and try to resolve disputes in those situations. So if I said that I was going to get a voiceover and Mickey Mouse's voice came over and it just said, "Haha, thanks for the money," kind of thing, we would say, you're not going to get it. So we're the arbitrator of the funds and quite honestly the escrow company that holds the funds during the transaction. So it protects the freelancers from not getting paid, which is a big problem as well. And we hold on to the funds. They do their job. They get paid. They can do it in installment payments. It's basically however the two of them have agreed to do it.
Right.
But we, like I say, kind of are the middleman to make sure that it's fair for both sides. That's really what we try to do. And as far as being fair on both sides, that's another thing I think that Krios is we're trying, really striving to be fair for both sides. If you look at some of the older videos of interviews that I've done and relationships that James has brought to us, we've sponsored MMA fighters, and our coin phrase is, we fight for both sides. In some of the platforms that you'll see out there, it's pretty much kind of like eBay. eBay will always favor the seller.
Right.
Always favor the buyer. So if you're the buyer and you say, well, I didn't get it, but it's sitting in your hands, you're going to get your money back and you got the product. It's happened to me many, many times. So, we want to make sure that both sides get represented correctly. And several of the platforms, they always favor the employer. And, quite frankly, the money comes in from the employer to a company. It's more valuable to have the employer like you than it probably is the freelancer, because we make a small percentage in the middle there. But that being said, that's not fair. So just because that's the best thing possibly for the company doesn't mean it's the best thing for the people involved. So.
Okay. And you want to say just a little bit of...
I was going to say, Rich, I just want to touch back on what Dwight said in terms of some of the sponsorships. Actually, one of the guys that we sponsored, a guy called Jai Herbert, has been signed for the UFC. So some pretty tidy stuff, and also Natty won the world title as well. So, and I've been training with him; he's a beast. So there's some great sponsorships, and hopefully we can continue some of them, because I know the guys have been dead keen on the sponsorship, and they've been wearing the shirts, and especially Yannick, he's all over everywhere with his top. He loves it, so it's great.
James, thank you. You're clearly MMA fan. I'm not. I know nothing about it. Thank you for that. All right. How does the token work in all of this? The gig token.
So we do not currently use the gig token as a payment or monetary process within the platform itself. But quite frankly, and I've got years of business experience behind me. I've a serial entrepreneur for the most part. I mean, I've started a lot of businesses, sold a lot of businesses, and done quite well with it. One of the things that people expect is some consistency and assurances, and unfortunately, our token is not a stable coin. And I think, if we were a stable coin, then I think we could use it as a monetary process to use between the employer and the employee. But the last thing you want to do is, say, I'm going to do all this work for $1,000, and then, the gig token goes down 20%, and all of a sudden your work just became $800. So we do support 140 different fiat currencies around the world that are paid out through a third-party system that we've contracted with. We will also pay out on request in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Tether. Eventually, it would be nice to be able to pay out in gig, or give them the option of using gig if I'm the guy doing the work and I'm adamant about being paid in gig. I think that's an option we should offer up on the platform. But currently, gig is not used in the payment sense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So that being said, what is gig used for? So gig is used truly as a method of distribution of profits. So unlike other coins, there's a couple of other coins out there that do a profit share based on their business, but I look at our gig tokens as our stock certificates for the most part. And we have, spent a lot of money with the lawyers, trying to make sure we're within the guardrails of the SEC and all that other kind of stuff. But the way that we have designed it is that it's kind of a third-party company that basically pays a profit share. We can't call it dividends or anything, but the idea for the gig token is to create an economy which is bolstered by some sort of a profit sharing arrangement from the companies that this business owns. Mm-hmm. So in other words, we might have a quarterly profit and the company decides to give, 50% of the profits away, and that becomes distributed amongst all of the outstanding shares. One thing that we're doing that's unusual in the space as well is that we originally did a test just to make sure our software worked and everything. And we had a contest called the Big Fish Contest, and people would get bonus at that time CRE tokens based on the volume of CRE that they held. We're going to actually use ETH or Ethereum as the payment method for any future profit shares. So the profit share then becomes something a little more tangible. Again, like I said, if gig token was widely distributed on a lot of exchanges and we had a lot of volume going on the buy and the sell side, then it would make sense to probably give out gig token versus Ethereum. But Ethereum is kind of like giving out cash. It's also part of the Ethereum chain. We're an ERC20 token. So because of that, we're able to use the exact same address. So I can very simply see through the blockchain that this person has 1,000 gig and they're going to get this percentage of the profit share. So it makes it super easy for us to be able to actually make the distributions happen. So that's kind of really what the token is used for in our mindset. It's not really highly traded. You're not going to see like truckloads of volume on it because most of the people that buy it to hold. So,
yeah, okay, and I'm reminded because you won an award last year as the best cryptocurrency.
Good memory because I didn't even think about bringing that up. Yeah, so we were awarded in January of this year the 2019 best investment in crypto down at the Miami Blockchain Convention during the Washington Elite. Actually, gave us that. Award, which was great. If you had bought the CRE token at the beginning of 2019, you would have gotten a 313% increase in the valuation of your money, which, being that 19 was pretty much a crypto winter for most places, that was a pretty solid return. And quite honestly, and we'll go into a little bit of this, we did a distribution. It wasn't really a profit share. Yeah. We were able to work out and negotiate a deal with another token company that we've been able to basically get 2 of their tokens for every gig token, a Cree token at the time, that you held. And that's turning out to be really possibly a super spectacular thing. I mean, we may exceed easily this year at 1,000%, which is pretty spot on. And again, that's kind of really not a profit share. You know, people need to understand there's revenue and there's profits, and there's a vast difference between those. You know, first off, you got to have revenues to even generate profits, but revenues need to exceed the costs of the business to create a profit. And I think a lot of people fail to understand that. This deal that we did with TNC was kind of an arm's length transaction that we were able to actually get some real revenues back to the gig holders, which is pretty sizable.
Yes.
So,
And then I do know that the deal that you got with TNC is very different to the deal that TNC have given other projects.
Yeah.
Right? Which is very, very, well, as a gig holder,
there's some people that don't like that.
That's right.
Yeah. There's some people that don't like that, but we were able to negotiate a pretty solid deal. The other projects that had a similar deal to the TNC project ended up having to give up their asset. Basically, with ours, you did not give it up. We just swapped it out to a gig versus the Cree asset. But you know, it's not free. You know, some of the other projects are like, well, you know, Creo's got stuff for free and all this other kind of stuff. No, it's not. I've been an advisor over at TNC now since September of last year, and there's a lot of hours that have been put into making that relationship and trying to help that business out as well.
Yeah. So I know there have been issues with the TNC token because it's been locked. People knew it was going to be locked, and then it's been delayed. And there's no date for when it's going to be delayed. This doesn't seem to me like there's been much in the way of communication from the TNC team and really way of accessing them. So there's been lots of concerns about that. So is there anything you can let us know about that now?
Yeah, so you know, there is an announcement that came out today about them trying to make up for that a little bit.